Hi, Scorpio. Happy birthday. I hope you're enjoying your birthday season. So this is your solar return birthday reading. And so what that means is that I will go ahead and pull a card for each house on the zodiac wheel. So meaning I will be pulling 12 cards, and it'll be themed thematically. It'll make sense as I move along with it. So anyhow, this is my gift to you. I love Scorpios. Scorpios are many times highly misunderstood. And I do apologize for those of you who are early born Scorpios who are getting this a little later. I meant to get this out earlier for you all to enjoy on time. So just keep in mind for this reading, it's a solar return year reading. So it'll give you themes for what to expect from this birthday until next birthday. So it's like an annual, and it's thematic for each house on the astrological wheel. And yeah, I'll just get to it and I'll explain as I go. Thank you and happy birthday, Scorpio. Okay, so I have already pre-shuffled the cards, but I will go ahead and do it again because I know a lot of you really love that, and especially a Scorpio. Scorpio wants to make sure, right? You want to make sure that your cards are shuffled and that you're getting a fair reading. So by the way, you're not going to be able to see all the cards the way I lay them out in terms of the circle. So my intention, and hopefully I did do this, but my intention is that I will take a picture of it after the reading and set it as my thumbnail. So if you do see that round spread of cards, that is what I was reading from during this reading. Okay, so here we go. Let's start with your first house. So for the solar return year for the Scorpio, dear Spirit, what does Scorpio need to know for the first house? And I'll explain what the first house is in just a minute. Let's just start with first. I'm going to lay the cards down first, and then I'll explain each house as I go along. What is the first house? I've had clumsy hands all day. Is that one? One. Okay, so your first 7 cards are down. All right. Let's start with your second half of the wheel. Houses 8 through 12th house. So, let's see it. Okay. Perfect. Okay. Don't worry, I'll show them to you. Yes, I know. I just heard one of you say, but am I going to see it? I hear ya. My moon is in Scorpio, so I totally get you and I understand you very well. All right. Okay, and before I start flipping the cards, I just want to take a moment to ask you to please subscribe, like, comment. I'm really working on this new channel. I want to build it up, so your support is greatly appreciated. So if you would please do that, I would appreciate it immensely. Thank you. Okay, so let's start with your first house. Your first house, Scorpio, or everyone's first house, I should say, on the natal wheel or just on the astrological wheel. You know, we have 12 houses, right? And the first house is traditionally the house of our physicality. It's about physical vitality as well. It's also the house that represents how others view us. That's why our rising sign lives in first house, and that's why we're always describing physical features based on a person's rising sign. So what this card will tell us is what you can expect in terms of how the world will see you. And this is a little different because there's another house here, the 10th house, that actually also describes socially how others will see you. But this is just in general. This is not career-wise. This is in general how you move around the world, and in your essence of you and how you show up to the world, right? And so the first house will give us a little indication of even physically what you intend to do with yourself the next year or so. Let's see. So for the first house, you have the Six of Swords. Okay, so physically, there may physically be an actual move. You may be moving or planning to move this year. It could also be moving away from a relationship. So because the first house is about our physical mobility as well, like what we actually do with our bodies, you're either you're on a journey to move away, different home, different state, different country, or move away from something that maybe isn't necessarily working for your physical well-being. So that's pretty powerful. And what I love about this Six of Swords in this deck is look how powerfully strong this individual is. You see? He's really activating his core, right? And so this can also be an indicator. I'm picking up a lot of you are going to start doing things like Pilates, yoga, a lot of core building. And actually, Spirit is saying that you need that. You need core building for your well-being. There's a big pull that you will sense. Because remember, we're talking about physical. We're talking about the first house, right? So in terms of your body, and see, oh my gosh, I never noticed this, guys. So you see the little symbol there? Yeah, I don't think you're going to be able to see it, but it's the medical symbol, okay? And so he is literally pointing his hand and toes that direction, but he's in control of it. So what this tells me is that if you have been having physical issues, there is a call here to work on your core balance and the types of exercises that are not just working on your physicality, but also your mind and spirit. And you're gonna get strong this year. This is a year of strength. You're not messing around, are you, Scorpio? This is gonna be a strong year for you physically. So what a great card to get in the first position here. So again, to recap, so for the first house, for this year, from this birthday 2020 through your next birthday of 2021, it looks like you will experience some kind of move or start planning a move. Maybe you're going to sell a home also that causes you to move away, or moving also away. I'm picking up what I'm feeling right now is that there could be a handful of you who have been in a relationship that is physically toxic to your body, that you're going to be moving away from. So either way, remember this is general, right? It's for a lot of you Scorpios. So it's very positive. It's a great card to get in the first house. So congratulations on that. Okay, so great beginnings. Okay, so let's go to the second house. The second house is our self-worth, our values, our investments, the things, the people, all things that we consider valuable. Okay, so this can be your investments, financial investments, your homes that you have for investment purposes, not the homes that you live in, but the homes that you consider properties that you consider investment properties. It's resources. So it's not just the physical, tangible resources, it's your own mental capacity, your ability to create things in your own resourcefulness. And this is where your self-worth and value live as well. Okay, so you have the Seven of Swords. And the Seven of Swords, interestingly enough, what it's telling me here for this solar return year is that this is a little bit of I don't want to call it a warning. I'm going to call it advice from Spirit to be aware. Be very aware of, make sure you're keeping track of everything, your investments, your, if you have other people involved, or even, make sure you're looking at all your receipts. Make sure that you're reconciling properly, right? Not just your bank account, but also, whatever expenses are going in, going out, all of that, your revenue. Make sure that you are taking time, even if you have managers who are doing it, even if you have other people in charge of your properties that are giving you the bottom line of and tallying you and giving you quarterly statements, you are highly being advised to get your hands muddy, to get your hands in there. And if you in the past have felt a little intimidated about learning some of these business things, Spirit is saying you need to learn at least the basics. Okay, because the Seven of Swords could be it doesn't always mean this, but it can be the card of trickery. It can also, though, be hidden investments, right? Because if the Seven of Swords is about sneaking away with something, getting away with something. And so, and in this context, because it's fallen in their second house of resources, I'm going to highly advise you, Scorpio, to, number one, you may have, it could be one of two things. You yourself may be thinking of secretly having your own account, or secretly creating an investment or working on an investment that you don't necessarily want people to know about it yet, which is very Scorpionic, right? My moon is a Scorpio, so I totally get it. Like, we don't necessarily talk about what we're planning. We just kind of wait, we hang on to it, and then little by little we'll let people know what we're up to, right? But we have to be ready. And so I think what's happening here, it could be one of two things. It could be either one, the first possibility here. And then remember, I have a group of you, so I don't know, you're going to know how this applies and what way it applies for you. You could be the one group of Scorpios that you're being warned and you're being asked to be a little more involved with your investments, your finances, your pieces of art that you collect. I'm hearing that some of you collect things, whether it's watches or pieces of art, whatever it is for you, okay? Instruments, I just heard instruments. One of you has a ton of instruments. Make sure you're keeping a tally of everything, your inventory. Make sure that you're on top of it. Make sure that you even learn the basics of Excel, just to keep a grid, a spreadsheet of a tally of what you have. Don't solely rely on someone else to have that information, feed you that information. It doesn't necessarily mean that somebody is doing something intentionally behind your back. It could just mean that someone else may drop the ball. It can mean that someone is intentionally doing something behind your back, but that's not always the case with this card. It could just simply mean that someone dropped the ball. Maybe they're being a little negligent. And so Spirit is highly advising you to learn some of the basics, do the things that you don't necessarily like to do when it comes to your investments. Just make sure that everything's on the up and up. That's for one group of you. The other group here, it seems that you may have been thinking more recently, and you're in the process of doing it this year, of opening either accounts or investments, or partnering up with people and investments that's swords. So it could be related to things to do with the mind, like writing, communication. It could be that kind of investment. But it's kind of murky, obviously, because if it's something hidden, even me as a reader is going to feel murky about it. So whatever it is, it's just a confirmation that yes, that's something that's happening this year, that you could potentially be opening those accounts or those investments, that you are on your way to do it. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be successful or not. It's just a confirmation. I think this is more of an advice, even if you are one of those people who is planning something kind of behind the scenes that you're not ready to tell people about in terms of investment. I'm also going to ask you, or Spirit wants you to also take the advice for the first group of Scorpios. Make sure that you know everything, that everything's on the up and up, and that you have access to the information before you make a deal. Okay? All right. So now we move on to the third house, and the third house is about learning. It can be learning languages. It's both third and the ninth house can be languages, just depending on the level that you're in, right? So the third house can be an interest in, relocation, moving, media. It can be our siblings, our neighbors, our daily. Basically, it's our day-to-day. So whatever it is you do during the day, the people you come across, like your neighbors and your day-to-day, the coffee you get across the street or what have you. Okay, but a lot of times, most of the time, the third house is going to speak highly about your siblings and travel, perhaps. Ooh, the Princess of Wands. So I feel like this year for you, you're going to have new associates. You're going to have new colleagues. You're going to have new associates, new neighbors, perhaps. Some of you, it's going to be neighbors. Some of you, it's new siblings, new family members. Perhaps your siblings are having children. Probably a fire sign child or a fire sign sibling is having a child. But you've got the Princess of Wands. And that's a younger individual. Also, it could be for some of you who are teachers. This can be an indication of teaching younger energy. It can also be the third house paired with wands can be about teaching elements of like Kundalini energy, spirituality, because wands rules all of that. And the third house is about teaching. But remember, it's not teaching, like the ninth house is about teaching higher education. The third house is about teaching the beginnings of something, like the entry level, the grammar, the ABCs of something, right? And it can be spirituality in the third house, especially if you're talking about teaching the basics, right? And so with the Princess of Wands there, I'm getting that some of you are becoming teachers of some energy work, teachers of whatever it is you're teaching. It's also music. Whatever it is you're teaching, it's your students or student that you're attracting is young, energetic, is full of vitality, and you're going to feel energized. That there's something about the third house energy, this teaching that you're doing. And it can also be travel, by the way. When you're traveling, and the third house is specifically about short travel. So it could be like road trips. It can be a flight, but like a short type of trip. That can also bring in your young, vital energy, because Princess of Wands is young, vital. She's eager to learn. She's aware of herself already, very confident, but she's still learning. She still has a lot to go. She hasn't reached the knight level or the queen level, right? She's at the beginning. She's a princess. So the princess is the equivalent of like the page in the tarot, right? So she's beginning her journey. So either you are taking on students, you're helping students begin a journey in something beautiful that later on is going to lead to the ninth house type of teaching. But for you, this is something that's also going to elevate your energy. And I'm picking up for another group of you, you have new siblings, or your siblings are bringing new family members that are fire signs. I'm picking up a lot of new, well, you all are getting a lot of new fire sign family members. So, okay, that's your third house. Let's move on to your fourth house. And your fourth house is about home. It's about the mother. It also represents the mother. It can also represent the father, actually, especially if you had a very nurturing, maternal type of father. But the fourth house is also our roots, our ancestry, how we feel energetically about our ancestors, how we feel about our ethnicity, our background, where we come from, and all that good stuff. And you got the best card that you can get for the fourth house. And it's one of the houses that I would say very much represents the fourth house. Not only is it another four, it's a Four of Wands. And the Four of Wands is the card in the suit of wands that represents stability, security. And again, look at this card. doesn't it look almost identical to your first card? So this is amazing. Like, look, it's the exact same posture, right? Or pose, I should say. Sorry, not posture, the exact same pose. And again, it's confirmation, Scorpio. You're going to have a lovely, this solar return year for you is going to be so expansive, but there's this physical element to it, and it's about feeling grounded in your body. It's about feeling complete, finally learning, not finally, because a lot of you maybe have already been embodying this, but there's a big theme here of feeling at home, not just at home, but in your own physical home. And you're going to start owning that essence. Again, this could potentially, because we're talking about the fourth house, meaning the home, you could be teaching these arts, yoga, anything that's core building, Pilates. This is something that you could potentially be teaching at home, from home, because it's successfully represented there. But either way, in whatever way, the theme is going to be different, right? So we know thematically, I'm organizing it per house, and each house has a theme, right? In astrology. However, there's a theme within a theme within a theme, right? And that's all going to change depending on your own experience, your life, where you are at this time of your journey. But in any case, wherever it is you are, if you do move away, like we were initially talking about, you're still at home in your body. You're feeling really good about where you come from, who you are. You're moving away from the things that don't make you feel good. So even if your roots, whether it's ethnically, your ancestry, even if there's something in your familial lineage that hasn't felt good to you, you're going to walk away from the people that represent the not so good, and you're going to move into your own existence, your own. It's almost like you're creating a new family lineage for yourself and those that come after you. Whether you are related to them, you're giving birth to them or not, it doesn't matter. You're almost creating a whole new ancestry line minus the DNA. Wow, that I don't even know. That just came out for someone very specifically. So congratulations for whomever that's for, because it's very yummy, and it felt so yummy when I said it. So next card is your fifth house. So the fifth house is about your children, your creative projects, because like our children, we give birth to them, we raise them, they're our babies. So all of your creative projects. It's also any businesses that you may have, any businesses that you may be thinking of starting as well. It's also romance. So basically, it's all the things that make us feel good. It's leisure, it's love, it's romance. It is the long-term relationships as well. So, okay, so you have, and I apologize if you're hearing all those sounds that I'm hearing. I live in a building with very thin walls. So basically all of my neighbors are listening to your reading. So, okay, that's okay. Maybe they're Scorpios. So anyhow, so you got the Six of Pentacles. That's such a great card to get. I love it. Six of Pentacles. I am loving. So I'm loving your read because I'm being a little selfish. I feel like it's for me too, because I'm Scorpio moon. So I kind of feel like this is, you are all getting a great read, and in turn I'm benefiting. So the Six of Pentacles. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the fifth house. So it's all about balance, right? But what I love about the Six of Pentacles in this particular deck, right? So normally the traditional tarot, the Six of Pentacles is about balancing the give and take, right? Normally there's like, in the traditional decks, you'll see like an older gentleman who's wealthy. It's indicated by the wealthy robe that he wears, right? And he's giving coins to the poor people in his village. And it's about balance. It's about equal give and take. What I love about this card to me feels a lot more grounded. Like for me, Pentacles, obviously it's Earth, so it's very, very grounded. But what I love specifically about this card is that you see how he's on this very tiny piece of earth that he's standing on? So if he barely steps to the right or barely steps to the left, he's gonna fall, right? Or who knows how high that cliff is, who knows where he's gonna end up. But he's got it under control. So this is twofold. When you get this card representing your fifth house, it's both advice and it's also kind of an outcome for that house, right? So the advice is to make sure you're balancing, because it looks like you're going to have quite a few things happening within that theme. So remember, we were talking about themes earlier. So with the fifth house, I just gave you about 6 themes, right? Children, creativity, your business, romance, relationship, leisure. That's already 6 themes, right? Within one house. So if you actually have all 6 themes going on, which this is the 6 of Pentacles, then what it's saying here as advice is to make sure you maintain your own groundedness while you are holding these themes, your children, your creativity, your business, your romance. Make sure that first and foremost, you are grounded. You're steady wherever you're standing, because this is going to take skill. And you can do it, Scorpio. If anyone can do it, you are the king and queen of strategy. Okay, so you can hold those pentacles and keep them balanced. But the key word here for you with this house is making sure that you're keeping yourself grounded first and foremost. Okay, all right, so that's your fifth house. Let's go to your sixth house. Oh, I love this card. Okay, wow, you got like the best read ever. Okay, so for your sixth house, we have the 10 of Cups. That's like the best. That's like the card that everyone always wants to get. So the 10 of Cups is love, fulfillment, emotional fulfillment from your children, emotional fulfillment from your creative projects, emotional fulfillment in love and your emotional status, right? Your emotional state. The sixth house is about our health. It's about our routine. It's the routines we create for our health. It's the amount of time we take to take care of ourselves. It's detailed part of our life. It's also our day-to-day routine. So if your day-to-day routine includes going to work, going into an office, brushing your teeth, brushing your hair, whatever is routine for you, and this is going to be different for everyone, but whatever is routine for you, that lives in the sixth house, as well as the level of your health. Okay, so 10 of Cups here. And again, we go back to this physicality that we began with at the beginning with the fourth house and this emphasis on your core. But I'm also picking up emphasis on chakra balancing, right? So for those of you who are in the chakra arts and the esoteric arts and the energy arts, you know what I mean. It's about balancing. And a lot of you who are watching tarot know what I'm talking about. So when you get the 10 of Cups in your sixth house of routines, and medicine and healing and all of that, you're really, whatever it is that you're working on here in your first house, your fourth house, it's spilling into your health, your routine, and it's beautiful. So a part of that, though, that the reason that these things are working, though, is that you're finding emotional fulfillment in a very important part of your life. And I would say a few important parts of your life. The emotional fulfilling that you are experiencing right now through your children, your creative projects, your business, your love, your romantic partner, that emotional fulfillment that you are getting from that place, thing, person, experience is contributing to your health. And so for those of you, I just got to hit that for those of you who are maybe a little afraid to let your guard down, whether it's romance, whether it's allowing yourself to take a risk in your creativity, this is really confirming that the more you allow yourself to open your heart in those areas, in your creativity, and in whatever this thing means for you, it's going to drastically enhance your health for this solar return year. Okay? All right, your 7th house. Oh my goodness, you just keep getting like all these amazing cards. So the 3 of Wands is what you got in your 7th house. The 7th house is our partnerships, relationships with other people. It's relating with other people as well, along with the 3rd house to some extent. But the 7th house is usually seen as the most important partner, or it's the first house that involves others, because the 3rd house still has more to do with you, right? But the 7th house is the first house on the astrological wheel that begins to bring other people, where other people begin to influence us and affect us. Okay, so the 7th house is all things contracts with other people, all things contractual with other people. This is where legalities live. This is where legal issues, whether it's contractual, like when you get married, that's a contract, that's a legal contract. When you get divorced, that's a legal contract. So both marriage and divorce live in the 7th house, right? Because they're two sides of a coin. So the 7th house is also about love, beauty, and a lot of people are usually concerned about the 7th house because they want to know if they're going to get married, and like what planets do they have in the 7th house, because that's usually an indicator. It's also, I have also seen that whatever sign or planet, or the 7th house is a huge indicator of the types of friends you're going to have around. So that's also a thing. So for you, in terms of tarot, because obviously this is not your natal reading, this is your tarot solar return, or tarot solar return. So for you, you got the 3 of Wands. I love this card. So I'm picking up in this journey that this Kundalini awakening, this essence that you are coming into with your body and your spirituality, and this teaching that you're doing, and this balancing, and this yumminess that you're coming to, it's also allowing you to express yourself, right? Again, we're going back to Wands. Remember earlier I was saying Wands is about, it's this life force energy, it's this spirituality, but it's also your vitality, it's also it's where your action comes from, right? And so look how beautiful that is. Like, that's someone who's in their body and their essence, they're in love with themselves. But remember, you got this in the 7th house. So what this tells me is that you're going to have opportunity. Here of 3 people. 3, it's about a number 3. And it doesn't have to mean there's a third party involved in your relationship. Although there could be. You could be in a relationship. You could be in a throuple. Is that what it's called? Yeah, I think so. Throuple. Yes. You can be in that, or you can have 3 business partners, or you can have 2 other business partners and you are the 3rd, whatever that is for you. It's an indication that it's going to be a good partnership that allows you to bring whatever that energy you've been thinking about, to bring that into physical manifestation. There's something here that you're going to be able to bring to manifestation because of others, because of the help of others. And it could be a relationship. It could be that through this journey, your relationship that you currently have strengthens, and it allows you to deepen that physical, sexual, sensual, romantic, energy that you may have been missing in the past. Or it may be a new relationship that's going to allow you to express yourself that way. Or because, again, we're talking energy, Kundalini, creativity, right? Or whatever new projects you're getting involved with that involve other people are going to ignite you in a way that allows you to just fully express yourself. Okay? All right. So let's move on to the 8th house. And, I can go so much deeper with all of these. And the sun is going down. My lighting is going away. So just if you want to hit me up for a reading, a one-on-one reading, please find me and I'll give you a one-on-one. Oh my gosh, Scorpio. It just keeps getting better. 8th house. You got Nine of Cups. What are you guys doing? Like, what are you up to? I want to know what you're up to. Just tell me in the comments. Just tell me in the comments what you're up to, because whatever you're up to is sizzle. Like, yeah, Nine of Cups. Nine of Cups is wishes fulfilled, wishes coming true, dreaming new dreams also. The 8th house, where this card landed for you, is that this is the house that traditionally rules Scorpio. Or I'm sorry, that Scorpio rules the other way around. So Scorpio traditionally rules the 8th house, okay? And the 8th house is all things esoteric. It's merging. And you know, when I used to talk about sex being a big part of the 8th house, but it's not that it's sex that's a big part of the 8th house, because really sex belongs in the 5th house. It's about that depth, that deep merging emotion and transcendence that we feel because of intimacy. So really what the 8th house is about is not sex, the physical act of it. It's the deep intimacy that we experience, potentially through sex, many, many times, most of the times through sex, but not only through sex. It could be through the spirituality, because the 8th house is all things spiritual. So there's something here. This confirms you're up to something to do with chakras, spirituality, teaching something, you're learning, you're taking training. Your spirituality is getting so strong. And the fact that you got 9 cups in the house that you rule is confirmation that whatever you're dreaming up, you're going to have a lot of manifestations this year. And the 9 of Cups is basically, it's the happy card. Yes, I know I said 10 of Cups was the best card, but the 9 Cups is the card that comes right before the 10 of Cups, right? So you basically have all the yummy yummies here, okay? So 8th house, let me just review. It also, in terms of the more day-to-day mundane stuff, the 8th house also rules taxes, insurance, life insurance also. It's our inheritance. It's the money that we get from others, the resources that we are allotted by others. So the loans, taxes, all that stuff, right? So it could be, and remember, you have this partnership thing going on in the 7th house. There could be something here. It doesn't have to just be romantic. It can be. But there's something here that's going to allow, because it starts in the 7th house and spills into the 8th house. So there's something there that's allowing you to make your dreams come true, and those things that so maybe there's an increase of money coming in your way, or just the mere fact that you're merging with others in some kind of, again, you have the secret card of investments over here. So you're up to something, Scorp. I don't know what it is, but like, can I have a percentage? Because whatever it is, it's going to be abundant. And it's going to require you to trust others, which is, you know, difficult for Scorpios to do, but not impossible. Because once you trust, you fully trust. Because it's kind of like once you cross that threshold, you might as well just go all the way, right? Because it's all or nothing for Scorps. So you are about to either finalize something here where money is you're finally receiving resources. And again, it doesn't have to be money. It can be just resources that come through the help and support of others. It could be your partner, it could be your ex-spouse, it can be your new spouse, it can be a parent that leaves you something, unfortunately and hopefully not through death, but that is, a possibility, right? Because we're talking about the house of inheritance also. So, but also just a side note, it's the most spiritual house too. So if you happen to have Mars hitting you there at any point or aspecting you, and again, we'd have to do a reading, like an actual reading for you to determine that, then that means definitely there's some huge spiritual healing energy thing going on here. Anyhow, let's move on, because I'm dwelling on that a little too long, because it's just, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? Like, this is like awesome. Okay, so we just read your 8th house. We're now into the 9th house. So some of you are growing your family. That could be this whole thing that you get from another, your partner. The 9 of Cups, this fulfillment that we were just talking about, could be that you are actually growing your family. And or this expansion that we're talking about, these partnerships, this physicality, this new spiritual ascension that you're going through is allowing you, first of all, you got the Empress. Sorry, I didn't tell you. So you got the Empress, and this is for your 9th house. Okay, so the Empress is the mother of all creativity. She's the one who is pregnant, holds the energy, and then delivers and puts that energy out when it's time to deliver it to the world. She nurtures it, nourishes herself in the process. And then when the baby's ready to come out, whether it's creative, whether it's love, whether it's an actual bambino, she's like, bam, here it is. You got it in the 9th house. So you could be, the partnerships that you're entering could be international or with foreigners, because the 9th house does represent foreign lands, along with the 12th house. But the 9th house is other languages, foreigners, teaching on a higher level. So remember, earlier we were talking about you teaching here, right? Teaching younger students and teaching them the basics. But now you have the Empress in the 9th house, and the 9th house is about teaching higher level. So whatever it is you're learning, because remember, I'm reading for groups of you, right? So there's the group of you who has this amazing investment going on secretly somewhere in some other part of the world with foreigners, and that's going to just be successful and awesome. And then there's the other group of you who is coming into this new way of teaching spirituality. You're getting all these new students. You're learning new forms and modalities of spirituality. And then you are now coming to this level where you yourself are becoming a master as you teach, because that's how we become masters at something, right? It's not learning, it's teaching. It's not until we teach it that we can become masters. And even then, we realize we need more teaching for ourselves and more learning, right? Because it's never ending, especially spirituality. The learning is never ending. And so here you have the Empress. The Empress is this fertile being. Because remember, we're not talking gender here, right? This is just an energy. This is a fertile being of whatever it is you're up to in that theme. So it could be education also, because the 9th house represents not only us being the teachers, the professors of something, or the masters of something, or the quote unquote gurus, although I don't like that term, but I just want to use that as an example. It's also about being the student so that we can get to that level. But for you, it could just be that you just graduated, you were the student who then, but there's both here. You are both the student and the master. Yeah. This is amazing. You're Scorpios, you're going to have a fantastic, fantastic year. I'm so happy for you. I'm going to move on. I have 3 more houses. The sun is going down. It's getting dark here. So I'm going to move on. Oh my God. Are you kidding me? Okay, so when you are looking for readings on YouTube, and then you have these, what do you call those clickbaits, where they say the most amazing reading ever. I hate those so much, because sometimes it makes me feel, it might be my Scorpio moon, it makes me feel like, oh, you just did that, so I would click on your video. And I'm not going to do that for this. I'm not going to say the best reading ever, but I'm telling you, this is an amazing read. And this read would be worthy of me saying on the description, the best read ever, but I'm not going to do that. No, because we're above that, right? Yeah. I'm not putting down any other YouTube readers, by the way. I'm just saying. Okay, you got the star. The star. The star. So the star is in your 10th house. The 10th house is about our social standing. It's about our social standing, the way society sees us. It's the social context that we enroll into, meaning like marriage, for example. I'll use that as an example. marriage is a social context, right? That we choose to go into. And that either elevates our status, or sometimes it doesn't elevate it, or sometimes it remains the same. But in any case, it's represented by some sort of status, or status represents it. It's also our career. It's the highest point, usually, not always, the highest point of our charts or in the astrological chart. And for you, when you get the star in the 10th house, it really is urging you, because this is a significant, whatever it is you're up to, Scorpio, this year, is such a significant change. And I just thought of some people who are Scorpio, but anyway, public figures, but I'm not going to name them because I don't want to get in trouble with YouTube. But Scorpios are going to really be put on a trajectory that it's going to come with a lot of responsibility. You are looking at a complete transformation of your life, which is, transformation is a keyword of Scorpio. But this, especially for you, huge transformation. It's also the result or the outcome, and I'm calling this the outcome because it's at the top of your chart here, or the top of your reading. The result of all of this and your solar return year, the way I'm reading it for you, is going to be healing. So I think there are some of you here who were forced to go into an extreme self-care regimen here, or routine, that has brought out the teacher and the student within you. I think you were forced into it. There was a group of you who was forced into it, probably at the beginning of the year into the end of this year, beginning your Scorpio solar return year. It has really required you to make significant changes, which is why you're getting all these amazing manifestations. And the star is all about renewing ourselves. But remember the 10th house, and when we started, I said the 10th house is also something to do with how other people see us, right? So to a certain degree, there's a physicality thing there. So if it's how you're being seen socially, if it's your social standing in life, if it's your career standing in life, if it's the highest point, it means that you're being observed by others as having healing. You are probably a healer, and you're healing others. And that's why it's in your career sector, right? Because the star is the healer. But before the figure and the star card became healed and renewed, she had to go through a lot of faith and a lot of belief, not just in herself, but in whatever external sacredness she believes in, because it wasn't easy. There had to be a moment of letting go of the material, letting go of the security, of like relying on the material for security. She had to literally just believe in that which is much higher than her. And or, because I know some people don't always believe in that internal light. Then when that faith is renewed is when the manifestation of renewal, transformation, and healing occurs. And it's not until then that you can heal others. This is so beautiful. So for those of you who are enduring some illnesses, for those of you who have to go through some heavy stuff due to illnesses, who are now healing and learning how to take care of your bodies and all of that, and the spiritual part of it that comes with it. The reason this all happened is because you are meant to heal on a grand, not on a small level. Like you're meant, like that's a huge thing that you're just seeing the beginnings of it. You just wait and you see. I want you all to comment in the year and tell me, or throughout the year as this is happening, and tell me how it's happening for you. Let's move on. It's getting dark in here. Okay. Beautiful. Oh my God. Are you serious right now. Okay, so now we're at your 11th house and you got the Two of Cups. I'm never this excitable during my readings, by the way. I'm usually more like mellow, but you're just bringing it out of me. The Two of Cups, you got the Two of Cups in your 11th house. 11th house is about friendships. It's about networks. It's about partnering and networks. And although, yes, this card looks very romantic, it doesn't need to be. It can just be the union of something satisfactory, right? So even though it's a quote unquote romantic card, usually, if it's not that for you, it just means that whatever networks you come into membership, whatever you decide, whatever networks you become a member of, whatever new friends you're meeting are very highly satisfactory in your life, or bringing a lot of satisfaction to you. It can also mean, though, that you potentially can create romance through a friendship. That's very likely as well. It could mean also that you meet a romantic partner through a new association that you get into this next year, from now to the next solar return. Because remember, it's a solar return, meaning it starts now at this birthday and this reading goes through your next birthday. Okay, so this is yumminess for a whole year. I mean, come on, that's great. So it looks like you're going to have an opportunity for either a romance with a friend or somebody you meet at a networking event, or a membership of whatever it is you're learning, a group of people, a new organization that you've become a part of. There's going to be some satisfaction there with another individual or a partnership that comes out of that is very highly regarded and highly satisfying, and you are happy, very happy with it. Okay, so let's move on to your final card, the 12th house, and OMG, yeah. Okay, so you got Judgment. Beautiful. Here's the deal. Judgment basically seals whatever. It's like the, oh God, what is that? I can't believe I can't think of the judge. Oh my gosh, please put it in the comments. Anyhow, Judgment is like the final seal, the final stamp that really makes it finalizes something. Judgment can also be a warning, or not a warning, a heads up that whatever decisions you make during this time frame, because the 12th house is the last house, right? On the astrology wheel. So that's the house of dreams, like literal dreams, not like our fantastical dreams, but like our dreams that we have while we're sleeping, our sleep. It's our self-undoing also. Okay, so we gotta be aware of that. It's also foreign lands. And it's also, it's a lot of dreaminess as well. It's also where we go and we hide and we isolate, right? So when you get Judgment in the 12th house, there are a couple of things here. First, because it is the last card for us here on the wheel, it's a reminder or a heads up, as I said earlier, that whatever decisions you make could potentially mean that it closes the doors on other choices. It's kind of like once you step into whatever you step into, so it's kind of like a heads up in the whatever you choose to do, whatever major changes you choose to do, whatever doors you close this year, make sure that you are sure you want to close those doors, because when Judgment comes in, there's a finality to that. Judgment basically is like, okay, you've made your decision. Here's the Judgment, stamp, you're done, filed, record, right? But on the same way though, on the flip of that, it's also true, whatever new doors you open could be long-term, right? There's something new, permanent, that the doors you close are closed, but the new doors can also be here to stay, right? Because it's Judgment. So, but also another thing with Judgment exposes us, right? because again, it's a judgment card. And if you see, there's this naked man. Again, this is not gender-based, okay? But these individuals here, they're nude, right? They're exposed, they're vulnerable. So you want to, because it's in the 12th house, you want to make sure that you don't, there's a vulnerability in being isolated for you this year. And there's also a vulnerability because it's in the 12th house. Like, be very careful what you do behind closed doors, because 12th house is also the house of secrets. So be careful that the secrets you are holding, that there's a justifiable reason for it. Because the minute those secrets come to light, the minute they are exposed, like these individuals, the result of that is permanent. The consequence of that is permanent. Now, don't freak out. It doesn't have to be negative. It could be when you are ready to expose this new venture that you have, this new business, these new colleagues, these new partners. You're going to feel vulnerable because it's a new venture. It's a new thing that you're going to tell people about. But it's also going to open the door permanently. So it could go one of two ways. The bottom line here is you have a fantastic year ahead of you. Your solar return year, your tarot solar return year is so yummy. I cannot make this up. Like, these are the cards that everybody wants to get during the reading. I'm going to take a picture of this and I'm going to post it, like I said, so you can see what I see. Just keep in mind, my one word of caution for you, whatever door, if you think that you're going to close a door, let's say a relationship or a friendship, don't take it lightly when, let's say you get into an argument or a disagreement with someone or let's say you decide to close a door on a job or whatever it is, or a business partner, whatever it is for you. Make sure you really mean it. And if you're not 100% sure, hold off before making any final judgment of that relationship until you're absolutely 100% sure, because whatever you do this year, it's permanent. Whatever choices you make are going to have permanent consequences, for good, for not so good, but a lot of good. So that's great news. All right, Scorpio, I'm going to ask you, please subscribe. Please like this content if you liked it. Please comment. I am obviously a new YouTuber here. I really want to get my channel going. I want to get it noticed, and it helps if you subscribe. It helps if you, Anyhow, check out my other videos, and happy birthday. And don't let anyone mess with you. And I know you won't, but anyway, bye.